Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to be looking at VoiceOver, which is the screen reader for the iPad, and I'm going to be looking at it in lots and lots of depth. So follow with me. So let's turn VoiceOver on. Let's go into settings, and then once we're in settings, let's go to general and then accessibility and then VoiceOver.
VoiceOver on. Settings.
Okay, so part of the trickiness of this video is actually there's lots and lots of features of VoiceOver, so it is going to get quite complicated at times, but feel free to rewind the video and just keep going back over stuff that you don't understand, or if it really isn't clear, then at the bottom of the video leave me a comment or a criticism and I will do my best to get back to you. The other thing that's going to be quite difficult, of course, is trying not to talk over VoiceOver as I'm giving a demonstration of it. So all in all, it's going to be an interesting video, but bear with me, I promise, or bear with me please. Okay, so the first thing, let's go into this VoiceOver practice section, just to say that there are some specific kind of actions, gestures that you do once VoiceOver is on. Okay, as it says up here, tap once to select an item, double tap to activate a selected item, and swipe 3 fingers to scroll. Because VoiceOver's on, those are the gestures. They're slightly different gestures than the gestures you'd use if it was off. Okay. Now, if we go into the VoiceOver practice, so we need to tap once.
VoiceOver practice button.
To select the item, and you can see that a black box appears around it, as well as the spoken prompt. And then we're going to double tap.
VoiceOver practice heading.
And it loads. So again, this grey area of the screen is my practice area, so let's go on this.
Practice VoiceOver gestures, commands, and typing in this area. Select the done button in the top right corner and double tap to exit.
So, tap once.
Touch. Select item under your finger.
And it tells me what I'm doing.
Double tap. Activates the selected item.
And it even gives a text prompt as well about what I'm doing.
2-finger flick up. Read page starting at the top. 3-finger single tap. Speak page number or rows being displayed. 3-finger flick down. Scroll up 1 page. 3-finger flick up. Scroll down 1 page. 3-finger flick right. Scroll left 1 page. 3-finger flick left. Scroll right 1 page. 2-finger flick up. Read page starting at the top. 2-finger flick down. Read page starting at selected item. Done. Button. Done. Done. Button. Settings. Heading.
So you can see there that there's at least 5 or 6 different gestures which are specific to VoiceOver, which is really good to practice. Okay, the next one is speaking rate. Here we go. Now this is obviously self-explanatory, and I've spent a lot of time trying to practice the right gesture for increasing the speaking rate and decreasing it. So first of all, with one tap we're going to select it.
Speaking rate 44%, adjustable. 34%, 24%, 14%.
Okay, so what I'm doing there is to decrease it, as I just done. I'm swiping down very quickly on the screen, starting in the black box that highlights the speaking rate. Okay, and then to increase it, I would swipe up.
Speaking rate 24%,
Really?
34%.
Really quickly, starting in that box.
44%.
But make sure it's a very fast gesture, because I spent quite a lot of time and my swipe was too slow, and so all that would happen is I would just move the black box. But yeah, so you can just increase or decrease the speaking rate, depends on your confidence of how quickly you want to hear things and understand things. And so the next one is, the next option here is speak hints. So for
Double tap to toggle setting.
So because the speak hints is on, we then got a hint there about double tapping. Okay, and if we go back to speak rate.
Speaking rate, 44%, adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
It gives us the hint there about swiping up or down. Now if we come back to speaking hints.
On. Double tap it. Off.
And turn it off.
Speaking rate, 44%, adjustable.
When we go back to speaking rate, it doesn't give us any hints. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is this option here of pitch change.
Use pitch change, off.
So we select it with one tap and then we activate it with another one, and all that does is it just adjusts the voice and the tone of the voice which is being used by the VoiceOver app. Okay, so it just uses pitch change, more intonation, things like that.
Use pitch change, on.
So let's turn it back off. Okay, sound effects.
Use sound effects, off. On.
In fact, let's leave them off.
Off.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press the home button and go back to the home screen.
FaceTime.
Okay.
Settings.
Now I'm going to go back to settings.
Settings.
And you notice
Settings.
that with sound effects off, there wasn't any sounds that it made going back to the home screen. Now let's
Use sound effects, off. On.
Now let's turn it off and do the same action.
Home. Settings.
And we heard a tiny little sound effect there.
iTunes Store. iTunes Store.
And there that sound effect comes again to let us know that an app has started.
Selected. iTunes. Music. Tab. 1 of 7.
So they're quite subtle, but they're really, really good for letting you know that something's happening.
Alert. Set up family. iTunes Store. Settings. FaceTime.
So let's go back.
Phone.
Sorry about that.
Settings. Settings. Use sound effects. On. Settings. Settings. Heading. Use sound effects. On. Off.
Okay, so the next option for us is speech.
Speech. Button. Settings. Heading.
And so this gives us, you can see here our options. I've got it here for English UK as the default because I'm English.
Default dialect. English
But
UK.
then if we can,
Settings. Heading.
so you can see here all the different options for English. We've got the US, we've got the Australian, obviously the UK, we've got the Irish, and we've got the South African. So we can change
Speech.
how VoiceOver sounds.
Settings. Heading.
This thing here of rotor languages, I'll go into the rotor in a while and you'll see exactly what that means, and I'll try and remember to refer back to it.
VoiceOver. Back button.
Let's go back to the VoiceOver menu.
Settings. Heading. Braille. Button.
Okay,
Settings. Heading.
you can connect braille displays via Bluetooth to your iPad or your iPhone. And this menu here just lets you set up how your refreshable braille displays would actually work with your iPad. So you can see here about your 8, you've got your output and your input, 8 dot, 6 dot, you've got all the different options there. And then you've got braille translation, what language is it going to use. And you can see here that it's choosing a braille display, and this circle here, which was going round and round, is trying to find a Bluetooth braille display, so that's what's happening there.
VoiceOver. Back button. Settings.
Right.
Rotor. Button. Settings. Heading.
We can see here these are just selections for the rotor, and the rotor is an on-screen menu, and I'll show you what I mean, hopefully.
Setting. Speech rate.
So you can see there There's the rotor. It's a black square with a clock face on it, and it's got 5 different positions. Yes, it has. So speech rate is one of them.
Containers.
Containers is another.
And store. Headings. Characters. Headings. Characters. Words. Words.
So that's the rotor. Now if we go back into settings,
And selected. And store. Feature. Tab. Settings. Settings.
so these on your screen here, these are all the different things that you can put on that rotor, and the rotor appears when you put your thumb and your index finger on the screen and you turn them as if you are turning some kind of dial or knob, and then the options that you select here appear on that rotor. I have done another video all about the rotor which goes into it in a lot more depth, so I'll put the link below the description in this video and you can refer back to that. Okay, let's go back to VoiceOver.
Back button. Settings. Heading. Typing style. Touch typing. Settings. Heading.
Right, typing style. I've looked into this a lot and I still can't get my head around it, so maybe this is where people can help me again in the comments section. If you watch this and you know what these different options mean, then please let me and everyone else know. From what I can tell, standard typing is when the keyboard appears and you've got VoiceOver on. Standard typing means, let's just select
Standard
it.
typing. Selected. Standard typing.
Let's go back. We're going to start some notes.
Notes. Note. Text field. Is editing. Return. Return. H. Hotel. H.
Now, standard typing is much like the rest of VoiceOver. I'm having to select something by just tapping it once.
K.
So I just tap the letter K once to select it, and then to activate it,
K.
I double tap it. Okay, so the letter B,
B.
I select the letter
Bravo.
B, and hopefully, yes, the display will catch up. And now I double tap it,
B.
and it puts it into my note. So that's what standard typing is. Let's go back to the menu.
Settings.
Touch typing
Settings.
and direct touch typing. I think that's when you don't need to do a separate action for selecting it and activating it as I've just done. You just tap the letter on the keyboard that you need. But I'm not sure, and I've read lots and I can't quite understand. I'm not sure there's a lot of understanding out there for what it means exactly. Right, so let's go back.
Settings. Heading. Settings. Heading. VoiceOver. Back button. Settings. Heading. Phonetic feedback. Character and phonetics. Button.
First of all, before I do phonetic feedback, let's go to typing feedback.
Button.
Okay,
Settings. Heading.
this is when you're typing, what do you want VoiceOver to repeat? Do you want them to repeat characters and words, characters, or nothing at all? So those are your options. So for instance, if you were to type in, if you had it on characters and words as it is now, and you were to type in the word car, then it would say C-A-R and then say car, because it's doing the characters and the words. Whereas if it was just the characters, like that, if it was just the characters, then it would say C-A-R. Or for instance, if you had it on words, it would just say car, instead of doing all the characters at the start. Okay?
VoiceOver. Back button. Settings. Heading.
So phonetic feedback,
Phonetic feedback.
let's have a
Character
look
and
at this.
Settings. Heading.
That basically says that when it's reading back the characters, do you want the characters and phonetics, or the phonetics only? So that relates back to that typing feedback.
VoiceOver. Back button.